Put that coffee down.
I thought I would leave a quickie here. I do have a few people, maybe not any worth bothering with, but I do have a few people who go at me about defending people that are accused of crimes and have been accused of crimes over the period of a long, many years. And they say to me, how can you defend this person who is guilty of this whole situation? And my response is that I'm not defending someone who is guilty of something. I'm choosing to defend someone who has not been proven guilty of something. And last I checked, there's a profound difference. There are people who say that this particular person, Mr. A, is guilty of the following crime. I don't want to drag up all the details because it just is a waste of my time and yours, no doubt. But this idea that, someone's guilty of that crime, they did this horrible thing and you're defending them. And I'm going, well, the fact that I'm defending them should indicate to you that I don't believe that they are guilty of that crime. I don't believe that.
You think I'm fucking with you? I am not fucking with you.
If the situation arose that that person was proven guilty of what they did, regardless of what it is, if the situation arose that that person was indeed proven guilty, or it was beyond the statute of limitations, I don't know all the details because it's not really my primary focus these days, as you might imagine, but but if it was proven beyond a reasonable doubt that this person was guilty, then I would certainly be open to changing my tune, even apologizing to the people who were victims of this situation, who have been exploited, if indeed they were, and disbelieved or marginalized in some way.
You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch? I don't gotta listen to this shit. You certainly don't, pal, because the good news is you're fired.
But of course, and we've heard this phrase now so much I'm going to throw up, in this cancel culture that we live in, where people are locked up in their houses and they feel the need to communicate, no matter how toxic that communication may be. No matter how toxic that communication may be. They're home, shut inside, so I think that the cancel culture thing is really revved up during the COVID. People are home and they want to feel that the hours as they go spinning by. I mean, every day is the same around here, and it gets to be 5 o'clock and the kids are having dinner. 8:30 I walk the dogs, 9:30 I'm in bed. Every day that I'm not working. And that's fine, I have no complaints.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
But for those people that those days are spinning by and they have a lot of time on their hands, they might not be doing what they want to do. So they want to get on their computer and they want to take on people like me. And they want to say, every horrible thing you could possibly imagine about defending someone who's been accused of a crime. And I've been saying the same thing all along. I wouldn't be supporting them if I thought they had been proven guilty.
First prize is a Cadillac Eldorado. Anybody want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of steak knives. Third prize is you're fired.
They have not been proven guilty. I don't care how many Pulitzer Prize winning authors say otherwise. Beyond that situation, I think that the cancel culture thing is just reached a breaking point. I mean, there are people who are accused of crimes right now. There are people who are accused of crimes, indiscretions, bad judgment, a lot of things. And they may be guilty of them. This is a separate issue from the one I was referring to, which I think we all know what I'm talking about. But separate from that, and again, do me a favor, really, for many of you people out there who have that reflexive criticism already and teed up, and you hate my guts because you're a Trump supporter, and by the way, Trump is gone. Trump's gone. He's not the president anymore. So let's move on.
You can't close the leads you're given. You can't close shit. You are shit. Hit the bricks, pal, and beat it, because you are going out.
But all of you, Trump, support the troops, support the cops, make America great again, who there's nothing I could possibly say that would ever win you over. That's cool. I get it. Then get off my page. Because I want you to know something. I really don't care. I really don't care about your opinion. I just don't. I mean, people say nice things. I'm like, thank you. But I'm not here to help you work something out politically or socially or emotionally or whatever. I'm not here for that purpose.
What's your name?
Fuck you. That's my name. You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name.
I'm here to promote things, my show, my podcast, movies I do, TV shows I do, promote other people's things, promote charities, engage with the public in a way that's always slightly more preferred than the media, because the media is always going to interpret who you are.
Because only one thing counts in this life. Get them to sign on the line which is dotted. You hear me, you fucking faggots?
And right now, I'd say we've reached a tipping point there with the overwhelming majority of the people who write, especially in entertainment. The top writers want to write about, foreign policy, the White House, things that are important. And I would say that the dregs of the journalistic community are in the basement there writing about entertainment. And most of them are not very good. They don't understand anything about what people in my business do or why. They know nothing about acting, music, nothing. They know nothing. And they hand them a computer and they hand them a job and they post this stuff online. And so many of them are just so awful. They're just so awful. What's awful is the writing is pretty awful, but their understanding about what people are doing and why. But that's a separate conversation.
A, B, C. A, always be B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
I'm saying that in other cases in our society, people are accused of things, and, I know it's painful. I know it's a slow process, but it's got to be proven. It's got to be proven. I mean, this is in many areas. Now, I'm not thinking of one in particular. In many areas where people have used bad judgment, people have made mistakes. Where there isn't clear evidence of a criminal activity, where you've criminally assaulted someone or sexually assaulted someone in some way, where there is behavior that it's to be determined whether it's criminal or not. If it is, that's it. I don't want anybody sexually harassing my daughter, my sister, my mother, my wife. I don't want that. I mean, the overwhelming majority of men, who I think are pretty healthy, I think if most men had kind of sexual harassment on their mind, the whole society would just grind to a halt.
Interest. Are you interested? I know you are, because it's fuck or walk. You close or you hit the bricks.
So I'm all in favor of laws that are tough laws on people who sexually harass, abuse, all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, it has to be proven. And where people had bad judgment, where people did things wrong, they made mistakes, should they lose their job and have their whole career ended as a result of that? I don't know. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. Al Franken. Did Al Franken deserve to lose his job? I don't know. I can't say no. I can't say yes. He's a very good example, because that was one that I was like, wow, that just ended without any, what I thought was a real depth of justice, what was a classic and necessary procedural of justice. I don't think he was given a fair shake. In the end, he might have come out of that system of justice and been someone who needed to go. I don't know. I'm just saying that there seem to be so many cases of people who it's clear, and I'm not going to name their names, it's clear that they did bad things and that they needed to be exiled, banished, canceled, whatever word you want to use, you know what I mean? But there's other people who, I don't know, they deserve to be sentenced to some kind of, or be ordered to go to some, not necessarily by a court, by their employers. They necessarily needed to have some therapy, counseling, training to get them in the right place about how you speak to people, what you say, what you don't say. A lot of these men are older men, my age, for whom the sexual harassment thing is always being laid out there as playful flirtation, a kind of what they view as an innocent sexual byplay. I'm borrowing a lot of, tedious words here.
Decision. Have you made your decision for Christ?
But I think that, unfortunately, what I always fall back on is a system of justice where people have to be given a trial. The Attorney General of a particular state is going to investigate charges against a public official of that state. That's how it has to play out. And then and only then can we all be talking about people resigning and God knows that in all likelihood they will resign if the evidence is there. But the cancel culture, I think, my point is, you take everything that I've said, and throw it out the window, with the exception of Trump lost. With the exception of that, and keep in mind that the COVID has exacerbated everything bad in our society. People are angry and bitter, and they're really, really squirrely, and they're off. And they don't realize that, of course, if these idiots that ran the government before had locked down all of May and June, we wouldn't be doing this now. If we had a more, a firm grasp of this in the last administration, all of it would be over. Now it's everywhere. Now, it's like plastics in the ocean. It's complete. It's everywhere. They said they found plastics in the permafrost in Greenland or some thing.
You see this watch? You see this watch?
Yeah.
That watch costs more than your car.
Anyway, no man, whether you have a girlfriend, a wife, a sister, every man has a mother, but no man who is a normal, healthy man wants other men to get away with their sexual harassment behavior. Nobody wants that. They don't want that. And at the same time, they don't want people to be punished for it who aren't guilty. So I think that in some of these cases, I just don't understand. The one thing, again, I'll put a finer point on is I don't defend someone that I think is guilty. I defend them because I think it's not proven that they're guilty. It's not for me to say they're innocent. They might be, they're one or the other. But I think that the real issue is you have to prove it. I don't care how many documentaries you make. You have to prove it in a courtroom. And in some of these cases, the statute of limitations, at least in terms of civil proceedings, is not gone. So if you want to prove it, you have a chance. But so I'm hoping people will understand, and you can spare me all your attacks. You can spare me all your about what you think of me. Like I've always said, if Barbara Bush fell through the ice on a pond and I wiggled my way out there and saved her life, they'd say I groped her. They'd say that I sexually harassed her. There's just nothing I can do to win over a certain quadrant of our society. And I'm so sad about that. But anyway,
I made $970,000 last year. How much you make? You see, pal, that's who I am, and you're nothing. Nice guy? I don't give a shit. Good father, Fuck you. Go home and play with your kids.
For everybody else, don't think that my defense of certain people about these issues is that I want them to be let off the hook because they're guilty of a certain behavior. In my mind, they have not been proven guilty of that behavior. They have not. They have not. That's a fact. And until they are, my mind is open. That's it. I mean, what I do say is, don't say they're guilty of something when you haven't proven that. Once you've proven they're guilty, I'll take your word for it. Anyway, the cancel culture. The cancel culture. Used to be that people had relationships with people who were famous entertainers and so forth, and you write them a letter. Dear Mr. Gable, you'd write them a letter to express your fondness for them. Now, the more exciting and the more visceral, the more invigorating thing you can do with celebrities is end their careers.
Put that coffee down.